Something awful happened here, Ed.
What is it?
When The Conjuring was released in the summer of 2013, horror fans and critics alike were captivated by its relentless suspense and chilling atmosphere. Directed by horror veteran James Wan, creator of both Saw and Insidious, it became one of the highest-grossing horror films ever made. Touted as being a true story, it chronicles the experiences of the Perron family, who are terrorized in a haunted farmhouse, and the paranormal investigators that are called in to help them. Roger and Carolyn Perron, and their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cynthia, and April, moved into the 200-acre Harrisville, Rhode Island property known as the Arnold Estate in the winter of 1970. According to Andrea Perron, the seller of the house told them to leave the lights on at night on the day they moved in. Almost immediately, the family started experiencing strange things, voices in the middle of the night, furniture moving on its own. Both were very common. It was clear that there was some sort of entity in the house, and it became violent. It seemed to focus its attention on Carolyn, although Roger and the kids weren't immune to it. One night, Carolyn felt something sharp poking her calf while she lied on the couch. When she took a look, she noticed a small pool of blood and a circular wound, as if she had been stuck with a sewing needle. The haunting became such a problem that the family called Ed and Lorraine Warren, 2 paranormal investigators that had become famous due to their investigations into a haunted house in Amityville. After doing research into the area, Lorraine discovered that the family was being haunted by the ghost of a long-dead housewife named Bathsheba Sherman. According to records, Bathsheba was born in 1812 to a well-off family and lived with her husband on the farm next door to the Perrons. They had 1 child together in 1849, but there were unconfirmed reports that she also had 3 other children, all that died before the age of 7. The rumor around town was that she was a witch, and a baby that died in her care was found to have been impaled with a sewing needle at the base of its skull. Word was she had sacrificed the child to the devil. Local legend says she died in 1885 of a bizarre form of paralysis that baffled doctors. The sewing needle connection was enough to convince Ed and Lorraine, and they would refer to the entity as Bathsheba from that point on. She would scream verbal warnings to the whole family and often show up in person to make her point. According to Roger, she would touch him inappropriately when nobody else was around. She seemed to be jealous of Carolyn, slapping and pinching her, and once appeared in the middle of the night, screaming,
"Get out! Get out! I'll drive you out with death and gloom."
Ed and Lorraine eventually came to the conclusion that Bathsheba had possessed Carolyn's body. She was becoming increasingly violent, to the point where the parents asked the Warrens to leave. Once they did, Bathsheba left Carolyn's body, but continued to be a nuisance. The parents put up with Bathsheba for 10 years and moved out in 1980, but that wasn't the end of the hauntings. A man that moved into the house to do some restorations allegedly left screaming without his car, without his tools, without his clothing. He never went back, and the house sat empty for years. Even the current owner claims to have had some unexplainable experiences in the house. The door banging in the front hall, voices of people talking, carrying from another room, the sound of footsteps, followed by a door opening, a chair vibrating in the study, and even the sight of a blue light darting across a bedroom. According to the town's old public records book, ominously known as the Black Book of Burrillville, the farmhouse had been the setting for many grisly events throughout history. 2 suicides by hanging, 1 suicide by poison, 2 drownings, 4 men freezing to death, and the murder of 11-year-old Prudence Arnold by a farmhand. Andrea Perron, who experienced the trauma of the farmhouse as a child, has been outspoken about the evil that went on there, saying 8 generations of one extended family lived and died in the house prior to our arrival. Some of them never left.